Hi everyone, I'm Alex and this is Ruthie the camper van. So welcome to Ruthie's living area. This is actually my office and where I get most of my work done if I'm not too lazy and utilizing the bed. But we have a lagoon swivel table here that we can open up. I can lay down, work on my laptop. I can also eat here. This is where I do eat. But this is pretty much my office since I work remotely. I have a Wi-Fi device that I use, but I can also just hotspot my phone and put Wi-Fi to my computer depending on what service plan that you might have. I do try and do a lot of work in like cafes in the daytime if I'm kind of passing through towns, so that once I'm in the van, I can fully unplug and be out in nature for as long as I, possibly can without having to get work done. And then the benches also serve as storage. And so for example, this is actually where I keep all of my backpacks, suitcases and luggage, and my dirty laundry so that it doesn't smell. This could be turned into a bed for a third person, but it's just me solo traveling, so luckily this is just the office dining room area. And then if you check out the cab, we have two basic seats. Since there is a bench here, there isn't a swivel on this passenger seat, which I think I definitely would have preferred. But basic cab, Dodge Ram Promaster 2500. It's a 159 wheelbase. She rides really easy. I was a bit skeptical. I'm from Florida, so I've never driven in snow before. And I did it for the first time yesterday up here in Arizona. So I felt pretty confident about that. I did have one rock crack my windshield on my first 20 minutes driving this thing. So that was a bit fun and got that fixed up real fast. So then I have my vanity section over here. When I am parked for a few days like I am now, I'll put all of my skincare stuff, because kind of a skincare snob still, my towel, glasses, and my one little mirror to do my makeup. So up here we also have storage. This is actually where I keep my stovetop. I have a fire extinguisher up there, my towels, a spare set of sheets, easy access winter coat, as well as a scarf. So I've actually been a full-time traveler for about 6 years and a digital nomad working remotely. And when the pandemic hit, my whole life, as many others, completely changed, and it kind of became very apparent that I needed to go home. I was actually stuck abroad in Argentina for the first 6 months of the pandemic. I finally made it home on a US Embassy repatriation flight, and I said, that's it, I'm staying back in my home country for the foreseeable future. But I still, as a traveler, had that sense of cabin fever and restlessness. And to be honest, I had never really prioritized seeing my own home country because, of course there are different subcultures and the US is huge and beautiful, but I always kind of wanted to keep traveling the world. But once the pandemic hit, I said, what is the best way to see the country? Van life. So many other people in the pandemic, just as myself, are new to van life and doing this because I feel like this is now the time. Also, I do believe that it's a safe and responsible, socially distanced way to travel because I'm out in different national parks. I have the same risk of getting the virus as being, in my hometown grocery shopping. So that's why I decided to actually rent this van and just take it on the road for a few months to test out the lifestyle before I completely dump my savings into custom building my own van, so I can learn the things that I like and don't like and kind of cross that bridge when I get there. So this is the closet. Usually when I'm driving, I just kind of toss a bunch of stuff in here in this section up here, but I'll put my clothes here. I have some spare toilet paper. This is also where my broom lives, up on a little push shelf inside there, which I usually toss headbands and scarves on top of the broom. And then we have these different pull-out drawers. This one is like my everything go-to, matches, whatever. We have socks, bras, and underwear. We have a food storage one for things that don't fit under here. And then the bottom two are clothing. So welcome to the kitchen. In this counter, we have a sink. And the sink, what's interesting about it is that it's actually a foot pedal sink. So once you kind of open this up here, water comes out like this. I have one 5-gallon water tank of fresh water underneath, and then a 5-gallon gray water tank as well. So this is where I'll brush my teeth, wash dishes, wash my face, get ready in the morning. Up here we have these shelves where I kind of just put as much stuff as I need, my toiletry items, whatnot. I have this stocking that more toiletry items kind of go in. And then when we open up down here, this is where the food storage goes. So here we have the garage. I actually am a sailor, so I try and keep a little piece of something nautical in here to remind me of my work and love. Down here we have the toilet, the fridge, and the heater for easy access. This is a bucket toilet, which is from Amazon. So you just kind of take it off. There's toilet paper wipes, and then I use bags that go inside of it. Since Ruthie is small and doesn't have a full bathroom, this is kind of what I use. And I'll try and use restrooms inside establishments as much as possible. So then on this side, we have a 12-volt fridge. This can actually charge with AC through the electrical outlets or DC. So actually when I'm driving, I'll roll it out and plug it into the car battery up front so that it's on DC power while I'm driving. It's like keeping it cold. And then at nighttime, if I'm not going to be cooking or got some food in the city or takeout, I'll just unplug it from the DC power. And if I don't open it, it usually stays cold until the morning. And then the heater is a Buddy Mr. Heater, which runs off of this little propane guy. This lasts about 4.5, 5.5 hours at full blast. So if it's really, really cold or like negative temperatures, you will have to wake up twice to kind of change this out, but I've just been using one tank per night in really cold situations. I do keep it on the ground floor just so that it's not up here going up to the wood, like, you know, tongue and groove ceiling. And since heat rises, it does keep me pretty warm. And then also under here, I have my spare sleeping bag just in case it's really, really cold, and my pots and pans and my fresh and gray water tank. So for work, I actually have my own company. It's a feminist social media marketing agency, and I run that remotely. I've been doing that for about 3 years out of my 6 years as a digital nomad. So I'll usually spend my time split between cities and nature, depending on where I'm going, just so I can get a proper shower or stay at a campground. A lot of the campgrounds that I've stayed at so far, or RV parks, do have Wi-Fi, so I'll get a bunch of work done then. And yeah, it's been very helpful. I obviously recognize my privilege in being my own boss and working remotely, so that gives me a lot of freedom to determine when I'm going to actually be putting in those hours from wherever I wind up on the road or where I rest for the night. And if anyone's interested in working remotely, I actually have a free digital nomad resource that I can offer you guys as well. One of the parts about being a woman on the road by yourself is definitely safety. That's a huge priority in my life in general, just with my background of traveling abroad and being alone in the Middle East and things like that. So some tips that I've gathered is when you're parking in a lot, for example, if I'm staying in a Walmart or Cracker Barrel, I'll always back my car in just so that the front facing Ruthie is out in case I need to speed away fast. I always sleep with my keys right next to me in case I need them. If you're someone that has a weapon, you know, a weapon of choice, there are so many different options, so many simple things too that you can have to defend yourself. One big tip that I'll share is that I never share in real time where I am on my social media. So I am a blogger on Instagram, and when I share that I'm in this national park or working from this cafe, I always give myself a 24-hour buffer of once I've left that place, just in case there are any crazy stalkers out there that might try and, you know, spy on me or see the van. So that's something I can share, to never really show where you are in real time on social media. So welcome to the bedroom. This is a full-size mattress. Since I am traveling by myself, it is pretty spacious and comfy. I have basic sheets, a few blankets, and then a winter blanket underneath here as well, with just like a day blanket. From here, I have access to 2 different outlets. I also keep my handy dandy headlight over here in case something happens in the middle of the night. Usually when I go to sleep, I will keep my keys here, my phone, my glasses, and like a weapon of choice, and then water, of course. And then if I need to have easy access to something in the middle of the night light-wise, I actually have this puck light right here, which I got from Amazon, which just runs off batteries. And these you can stick anywhere that you'd like. So I have this beautiful Max air fan behind me. So when I crack this open with another window, I'll get a nice little cross ventilation of AC. And also when I do use my Mr. Buddy propane heater, I usually try and crack this open as I'm using it, just since there is not a carbon monoxide detector in this van, which is something that I definitely would like to add. So Ruthie's insulation is actually sheep wool, which is a non-toxic clean alternative, and it's also really great for taking moisture out between the van and the wood. And it's Havelock. And then she's also powered by 200-watt solar panels, which then charge a 100 amp power lead acid battery. And instead of doing a lithium ion battery, the reason for that is because one, it's cheaper, and two, there's not a lot of weight in this van, and usually people go with the lithium when it's like a heavier weighted van. So yeah, we just have the lead acid battery. And the solar panels actually go into a Wanderer controller, which we can see from right under here in the sink. If I had to give any advice to a fellow newbie van lifer who maybe doesn't have that much experience and is contemplating, buying a van and renovating it themselves, it's pretty cliche, but just get out there and live in your vehicle. And if you can, I would highly suggest renting a van first. That's what I'm doing here with Ruthie. I'm actually renting her through Outdoorsy, and I can provide the link too. So once I'm done testing out my van life, this van will be available for rent as well. And I'm doing that just to make sure. I'm quite like type A organized person and traveler. And while I do love embracing the unknown and jumping into that place, I also need to make sure that it's going to be a financially wise decision, because building vans are expensive, especially if you're getting like a brand new 2019 Promaster. Everyone knows that. So I highly suggest testing it out, because just based off of what you see, if you're someone that watches YouTube van life vlogs like me, and that's literally how you get your boost of serotonin in the day, that's very different from actually living in the vehicle and going to the bathroom, in the woods, or sleeping in Walmart parking lots, or being alone when you hear the noise of the howling wind. The scariest thing for me is literally driving with wind and sand and hay next to a semi truck on like a high desert highway with rocks that chip your windshield, as happened to me in my first 20 minutes driving. So all of those things, I'm really glad that I'm figuring them out now before I decide how much money I want to put into this. Ultimately, a van, it's going to be your home, but it's still a vehicle. So it's going to get messed up. It's going to be rugged and rough no matter where you go. So those are all things just to keep in mind. Thanks for checking out Ruthie, the camper van. Once again, I'm Alex. You guys can stay tuned and follow along my journey as a newbie in van life at Tipsy Soul on Instagram and YouTube. See you on the road.